Not only affects your professional life, but your personal life. Because if you're not there for your partner, it's going to affect your sex life.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Your children.
You know? So, like, being burnout isn't always just creatively. Like, you could literally be burnt out on life.
Right, yeah, and it doesn't just apply to creatives. It can apply to people in the professional field of a doctor. I mean, it just, but since we all are creatives, and that's our livelihood to a certain degree, it is our job.
The day-to-day.
It is our day-to-day. And it's a little different when you're a creative, I think, too, because it's all independent work, right? It's like you all the time. You have to come up with you have to wear so many different hats.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't realize that going into it, starting my own business, that, I'm going to be the marketer. I'm going to be the bookkeeper, I'm going to be the actually hands-on work,
Sure.
So knowing how to distribute all those tasks will burn you out.
Yeah.
Eventually. And the fact that I am terrible at asking for help.
Yeah.
I'm sure. If I'm like, I'm struggling here, I don't want to admit it.
Sure.
And I don't want to ask for help. And it's just probably something from my childhood. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Everything points to your childhood. Any flaw, they said, in your adulthood.
Thanks, Dad.
Points to some disappointment in your childhood. But
sure.
Yeah, I've never been good at asking for help. Even when I'm in like the roughest spot. I don't know what it is. So yeah, I think it's that.
Do you ask your husband for help?
Some.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even there, like, I know he's got his own thing going on.
Same.
Sure.
And like to put pressure on him to say like, I need help here. I don't know.
I'll even get to a point where I'm not only not asking for help, I'm not asking anyone for anything, even if it's like, So for example, like if I'm on a committee for a fundraiser, to me, that could potentially be a burden because I am so worn thin in so many directions. I would never ask someone else if they want to be on that committee because that's just stressful. When in reality, they might love it. Right. And I'm like saying no for them because I'm stressed out.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's very confusing.
Deciding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
you asked me to be on a committee.
Yeah. I would never do that.
You did. So you're going to have to remind me about said committee.
Chelsea, you want to be on a committee?
Ask me in
How do you feel about burnout? But okay, so to backtrack just a little bit, I would love to know your life story. Just all the things, but especially like how you got into being, like, have you always been creative? What sorts of things do you like to create? And how did you end up burnt?
Yeah, I grew up in a very artistic household. Like my mother, she's an artist. She taught art in school. Was always her room looked like this room, her like art room. It looked like your studio with like bits and pieces and like her passions all in one place. And
that's cool.
So I grew up seeing that and being around that, and she nurtured that for sure in all of her children. Like she's just a very she's a hippie. And she just a carefree hippie. And so she was always in art and expression, and so I grew up with that. And then my dad also had a bit of that too. He's a musician, not like professionally, but on the side.
Musically talented.
Yeah, he's musically talented. So I come from a creative family. My grandmother, she was like a master seamstress, and always had us doing like sewing projects when we were over at her house. And so it's like I pulled from different areas in my childhood, I think, and influences,
Sure.
And not limiting myself to one, because it was shown to me growing up that like there's so many options.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why now in adulthood I'm like, there's so many options, you don't want to miss I don't have to do one, and then like try to pull from all different ones and then end up burnt out.
Sure.
But so that's a bit of my background. Is like, I just completely
Everybody's
was
doing it.
in it, immersed in creativity all the time. And And I've always been into art. I didn't know I never called myself an artist.
Right.
Most artists don't.
Right? Until I think I was like maybe 3 years into my business, and someone was like, you need to claim that title.
Sure.
And I was like, are you sure?
Sure.
Like I never, I've always been creative, and I've always, dabbled in this and that, but I've never was like, I'm the artist,
Yeah.
because it feels like such a pompous title sometimes, right? I don't know why. It's not like a doctor is afraid to say I'm a doctor.
Sure.
Why are artists so afraid to like claim that?
Yeah.
So
do you now? I'm sorry.
I did.
No. I'm interrupting a lot. I'm real excited.
You go.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, what is that? Like, why do air quote artists not just say, yeah, I'm an artist? Anytime someone introduced me, like, this is Alicia, she's a really talented artist, I'm like, ooh, cringe.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I know. And it's like, you always try to downplay it. You're like,
Sure.
oh, no.
Oh, I like to color.
I like all the colors.
Yeah.
And no, and I don't know, working with your hands, I think maybe it's just like, maybe because it's a natural progression for us, it felt like just like part of just ourself, that like claiming something outside of that and giving it a name,
Like a label issue, kind of.
might be the hindrance there. I don't know. But, and maybe it's just because
Do artists have a bad rap?
I think so. I was thinking that I haven't lived somewhere where being an artist would be something you're proud of. Like I
That's a good point.
hear
that's
the
good.
word starving in front of artists
Yes.
every
Sure.
time I talk about it. And it almost sounds like play to me. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like I
it's-
don't want to say I play for a
It's
living.
not taken
right,
seriously.
like
Yeah.
it's a hobby.
Yeah.
Like this is just
Sure.
my hobby. It's not my serious.
Which I mean that is what it is until you actually make a business out of it yourself, you
Right.
know. And even now, even like sold a few paintings the other day, and I'm like, it's still my hobby. Like I can't,
know.
I can't own it, and I don't know if it has to do with where I live or my representation.
And maybe it's because like art is so personal.
yeah,
And it comes from a place that you really can't, well, if you're a great artist, you can probably portray that in your art, but it comes from a place that it's just very personal.
yeah,
And to like to really grasp that and say, I'm working off of my passions. Like how selfish does that sound,
Yeah.
like in a way. And so maybe that's why. Maybe it's because we're told like either it's a position of starving or a position of like, look at me.
yeah,
It does feel very look at me, and also I don't know if belittling's the right word. It feels very limited, like to say you're an artist. Maybe it is the hobby factor, but it's like you're not just an artist. Maybe that's the case with any label.
yeah,
You're more than that thing.
Oh yeah.
Like if someone were to explain me as a creative person, I'm great with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I try to be creative in anything I'm doing. Parenting even, or grocery shopping. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
Cooking, yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So to say I'm an artist at United grocery store, that doesn't make sense.
Maybe it has to do with the whole way we were brought up to have a living so that we could, like the whole work to live to work
Sure.
thing. And we've always had it backwards. And
Sure.
so now it just feels so unnatural to
Sure.
love what you do.
Oh,
Totally.
yeah. Okay, that's a good point because we probably all have parents similar
Sure.
generation, probably like generation
Yes.
boomers.
Work,
Yes.
retire.
Yes,
That's
and it's
it.
like school, well, high school, college, career, family, career, whatever comes first. And it's like that's just the natural
That's it.
progression of things. And so to just totally turn that, and yeah, that's probably
That's
a lot of
interesting.
it. A lot of it is.
Artists don't have 401ks.
We should start.
I know,
that.
and my dad.
Oh shit!
My
Don't
dad
get me
reminds me of
started.
that, often.
Right?
Sure.
My 401k is my husband.
Amen.
Actually, I don't even think they have one.
Yeah.
Firefighters have weird
Sure.
retirement.
So that kind of comes back to the whole
That's
like
interesting.
selfish part of it.
Sure.
Is because you are doing it, you know, regardless of like these outside influences of saying like, you're not doing it the right way.
Interesting.
And just being like going against that. Maybe all in the back of your mind, it's like, I'm being selfish.
I'm not doing the right
Yeah.
thing. When it should be considered like a trade, in a sense. Like, I'm working to get better at this thing. But I did hear someone talking about there's this lady in Dallas that you pay her money to take like is it an aptitude test? Is that what it's called? Where they tell you like what you should be when you grow up or whatever. And it was she's done it for years and years and years, and it's very detailed and whatever, but she was saying that the key to a successful, enjoyable, long career is that you have a business side, like you do something, but then you also have a hobby, and those aren't the same thing. And I was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
What do you do when your hobby becomes your business and you don't even do it as a hobby anymore? You're just doing it to try to make money and
when
get
you try
by.
to monetize
Talk
it.
about burnout. Like it
Exactly.
kind of makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Because, you know, we enter into it because we had a passion for it. And then whenever that passion becomes a daily grind, like
Sure.
something that you feel like you have to do. Because like when you first started, you were doing it as like, you know, I have time to do this thing. I enjoy doing it. Let's see what happens. You know?
Sure.
But whenever you wake up in the morning, you're like, I have to do this thing.
Yeah.
sure.
I have to try and sell something.
Yeah.
It just totally,
Sure.
it totally just flips the whole.
So you're on a break right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A complete halt.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I had my business for almost 7 years. And I bet you on year 5, I was like, okay, I think this is the year I'm not going to go any further.
Tell us what you were making and doing.
Yeah. So, I could go back, but I'll just say what I embraced as my title with my business is I'm a pyrographer, which
That's
is a
cool.
wood burning artist. And I fused that together with like just all my background and so many different things. Watercolor, I dabble in that with wood and burning, and then also like my technical background is I grew up in Borger, Texas, and my first job was a draftsman. So like that's my technical knowledge.
What is that?
A draftsman, so like computer aided drafting
Okay.
and design. Yeah, and so just that's what my first job was, because Borger, Texas is petroleum city.
Sure.
And I got my first job as a draftsman at the plant. And so I like fused that even in with it, because I really like line work, and
Sure.
I like geometry, and so that's where it started. Is like I was like, oh, I really like playing around with this wood and making these. It was the same application, like of using a wood burning pen was similar to drafting, like because
Sure.
it's very technical. Like you can't mess up.
Sure.
Like you can't erase, a line in wood burning.
Sure.
I mean, you can sand it out. Anyway, so that's what my title is as an artist. Is I'm a wood burning artist or a pyrographer, if you want to try that word. A lot of people can't say that word. So pyrographer. So pyro. I'm a pyro. Get it? I like fire.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't like it.
Wait, really?
I really don't. Like Jordan, he
Interesting.
comes home and he doesn't really talk about what he does very often.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they've been at a fire all day long, I am thinking,
Oh,
can you please quit? I see him as, I tell everybody he's an accountant.
safe.
Yeah, just behind that desk.
I didn't think about that. I like fire, but I also haven't ever had to go into one.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
I
So speaking of that, I feel like we are all pretty creative and we get the opportunity to. So I'm going to say it. My husband is my number one supporter, and I could not have I could not have my own studio or have the freedom to be able to create all the time if it weren't for him, you know? So does Blake, I mean, he's the doughboy, or are you?
We both joke with each other all the time that we're just waiting for the other one to get real successful. I'm gonna ride your coattail. I'm waiting to ride your coattail.
Well, there we go. I love that. That's funny. And then your husband's at Pantex, right?
Yeah, he's been,
So he was in the military. And
he was a firefighter.
Yeah.
He
in Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And military, firefighter, Bell helicopter, railroader, and now Pantex. Yeah. So he's always been the provider. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's a privilege, right? To lean on that.
Yeah.
Like I realize that. And, you know,
it's so hard for us to sit here and say that. It just, for the artists out there who don't have that other income, it's like, dang, how much harder are they grinding? And actually, I don't know. This artist came through Amarillo a few weeks ago. I forgot her name.
That's at the museum right now?
Thanks. I don't know.
Swoon.
Swoon, yes.
There we go. Sammy's swimming as Samsonite.
close.
Okay, so I went to her conference that she had at AC, and I don't know if she has a significant other or not, but I do know that she decided to build a raft with all her friends and got all her friends on board, and everybody kind of just, whoever would say yes or whoever would come help. They built this raft and they sailed it to Venice to an art.
That's incredible.
I know. And there's pictures of it. Like if you just Google swoon rafting or swoon raft or something like that. But in Venice, they pulled her over and they were like, you can't have that. And she's like, well, the U.S. says I can. And then they had to allow it because they had to go by the U.S. laws or whatever. Anyway, it just was funny because now it's this inside joke when Jordan is like, oh, but is that really possible? Can you really make that? Can you do this or that? And I'm like, I could build a raft and go to Italy.
My gosh. Try me.
Yeah. And he was there for the conference.
That
there's
is
no limit,
right?
Yeah.
There is no limits. We put ourselves in boxes.
It does show you, though, that it takes that, community.
Yes.
Support.
Yes.
And what you can do with that is just incredible.
Yep.
Yeah. Are
That's
you
cool.
involved in anything right now? You're taking it easy with the kids this summer because you homeschool too.
Yeah, I do. I'm totally taking it easy. I think that's what I was starting to say. I think around year 5, I thought that I'm hanging up my hat. This is it, right?
Yeah.
And then
The hat you made?
I'm hanging up that beautiful hat. And beautiful hat. No, and then year 6 passed and I was like, I'm going to take a break. And then I made this announcement and then I didn't stick to it. And then here's year 7 and I think this is I've actually stuck to it.
Yeah.
I'd always dip in and be like, and not because I missed it. I felt obligated almost to do it.
Sure.
And no, I completely stepped away. And I've I think it was in February of this year that I decided around tax season because it was a reminder of what am I doing?
Right.
Yeah. Tax season, you're always just
uh-oh.
Oh my gosh. So I did. I completely took a break and I'm still on it. And
So how does that feel? Have you felt that pull of obligation and
no,
any guilt or anything?
No,
That's
not
good.
This time. It's been very liberating.
Interesting.
I finally just kind of let it go because there was a lot of bitterness attached to what I was doing there for a while. And it wasn't because I didn't like what I did. I felt like I was competing with something, maybe even competing with myself, and my how much energy I had in the beginning, and it's like, what's wrong with me?
Sure.
You know, like, why don't I enjoy this anymore? And like just trying to will myself through it.
Sure.
And yeah, and then finally was just like, you know what, just like I deleted social media like
Ooh.
Completely off my phone.
I'm
So
a
I wouldn't-
horrible friend. I haven't even noticed.
No, I completely deleted it. Like,
Guess you're out the
removed it.
algorithm.
I know, yeah. I guess I wasn't that noticeable. No.
I would like to do that. Because I have had my Instagram hacked before. And so I always have that fear that it might
Sure.
happen again, and my whole business is on there. So I am bound and determined to make something else to where people can be like, well, I'm bored in Amarillo, and what should I do? Oh, let's look at Stoic's website and see
Sure.
what they're doing. You know, I don't want to be a part of
It's
social
tricky.
media, and that is where I do all my competing. And I almost sit there and look at everybody's stuff and think, oh, I'm going to make that, I'm going to make that, I'm going
Sure.
to make that, I'm going to make that. And then I attempt it, and it doesn't come out the same. And I do, like, sit there, comparison.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's not healthy
Yeah,
at all.
Totally.
That goes with burnout for sure. Comparison, or what do they call it? There's another word for it. Imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah. To where it's like, look at them. Look at they're making it work. Why can't I? You know.
Sure.
And who's to say how well they're making it work?
Exactly.
Sure.
It's just a snapshot. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
literally a snapshot is all you're seeing on Instagram,
Sure.
and maybe a little words that people try to like, you know, fluff it up, but.
Yeah.
But you know, it is, and that's where I was getting a little bit bitter about it, because back in 2000, and it was during COVID. That's when I finally like branched out. So pyrography is strictly, it was always wood, right? And I knew I wanted something different. I want to explore. I'm just the type of person that wants to like push the boundaries and see what else I can do. I don't like following a trend. I'm
Right.
just not that, like, yeah, that's just not me. So I was like, what else can I do? And so I started experimenting with fabrics, and, you know, cork, I think, was one of the first fabrics that I tried. And then once I realized, okay, I can burn, like, control burn
Yeah.
Sure.
fabrics, then I got into the hats. And it was a huge success because
Yeah.
it was so new. Like, everybody had seen, you know,
Sure.
wood art with pyrography, but, like, bringing in fashion
Very rare. Yeah.
Sure.
with that was like, and so on social media was where that's primarily where I was growing my business, was on social media. And it wasn't just local. I was sending stuff all over. And, you know, I think I saw something recently. It was like, why do artists want to go viral so bad? Because once they do go viral, everybody can copy it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like this push-pull. And that's what I was like, oh, I finally found something that it went viral. And I was like, so excited about it. It was exciting. But then everybody else started doing it. And then I was like, oh, no, I'm following a trend now. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and so I had this bitterness attached to it because I was like, now everybody's doing it and I don't
Yeah.
like it
Sure.
anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I was
Sure.
just kind of pouting about it a little bit. And I was just, I don't know. And I finally had to release that. And I think when I finally released, like, it's fine, I contributed something. I had to like switch the narrative to think, okay, yes, I made this thing and it did well and people like it.
Sure.
People like it enough to do the same thing, and why are we so offended?
Right, like what flattery
Interesting.
is the,
Yeah.
what is that saying?
Imitation.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And, you know, I didn't believe that. I was like, no,
That's
they're
just rude.
Yeah.
So there was some bitterness there, and until I finally just released that and looked at it like, okay, I contributed something
Sure.
and changed, you know,
Yeah.
the way people look at pyrography,
Sure.
and that was exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like the way it made me feel for a while, so I
Sure.
just let it go.
I have found it interesting how often the concept of a trend in general is really fascinating to me. The fact that, for example, I see scalloped stuff everywhere right now. And at first I was like, oh, well, that's cute. And now it's like, oh, I need that everywhere in my house. That is all I need in my life.
Yeah.
It was checkered for a moment in
Yes.
time, which I'm still all about. Anyways, it's interesting to me how powerful it can be. And it's almost like it comes in waves, not just, you know, fashion trends and home decor and whatever, art and things. Like, for a year, all the movies are about zombies and all the shows are about zombies, and then it's pirates, and then it's like how did everyone do that? Like, how did they all know
collectively go,
yeah,
that's what we want?
it's like I it's just interesting to me. I think in some realm God's like, okay, everyone, now try this.
Yeah.
And whoever can hear it's like, that's a great idea.
I love that.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I love trends.
Yeah.
See,
I'm about it.
I'm like, I don't know. I think I already said it. I like to be, I guess a trailblazer is the other word for it. I like just pushing myself.
Well, and you feel like to be an artist, you have to be unique.
That's
That would
true.
be something that's too much pressure.
And that's
Yeah.
a
because
good
that's
topic to talk
genuinely
about.
impossible. There is nothing.
Yeah, there's that quote that
unique.
it's Coco Chanel, and she says anybody who thinks they're original just
Right.
doesn't have a good memory.
There you go. It's really good.
I was like,
Nothing new
but that
under
gave
the
me
sun.
so much freedom.
Yeah.
So much freedom
Sure.
to
Well-
just. There's so many things that I won't do because so and so
You
has
see
it,
it somewhere
or so and so
else.
did it, and
Sure.
it's like, but it might bring me joy to
Sure.
do it. Like, why not?
Yeah. And that's where I had to start changing my mindset.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is doing something for somebody else. I should not feel this way.
Sure.
And yeah. And have you guys read the book Austin Kleon? He's the Still Like an Artist.
No.
You heard of that?
Still like
No.
an artist.
Still Like an Artist.
I've read bits of it, like pulled quotes from it.
Yeah, because he's like
It's real good.
he enlightens that area because, like you just said, Coco Chanel. It kind of follows that because we all are pulling from somewhere. You
Yeah.
know, we're not
Even if it's subconsciously. Like,
yeah,
I'm into scallops because I see them everywhere.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like literally everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, we pull from all there's millennia of
interesting.
art,
Sure.
and we're and music too. I mean that goes for music when people are like,
Sure.
oh, you know.
That's true too.
It's like whenever you get a new car and then everybody has that car.
You're like, because you
Right.
start seeing it everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the same with art, same with trends. You just
Sure.
I have discovered that I do hide behind things like parties and events and stuff like that, and so that people don't have to like acknowledge my work, my art. Like it's
Interesting.
something that I'm not.
It doesn't feel like you.
You know what?
No.
I don't think it's trendy. And so I think in some way that is scary for it to not be trendy
You feel like
whatsoever.
you're not doing it right.
Yeah. And I'm thinking,
Should add some scallops too.
I did. I actually have some wood that Birdie broke it.
we'll fix that.
No, I got a lot of it.
I think where we're at too. How many times have y'all heard that like Amarillo is always behind on trends?
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
and so how cool that you can bring them.
Oh yeah, well I wouldn't.
Oh,
I wasn't going there with that. But I'm just saying, like,
Sure.
Yeah.
you're probably ahead of the trend. You just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
There you go.
I hope.
So, speaking of burnout, I am a graphic designer by trade, if
Okay.
you will. But I have always worked for churches and or nonprofits, and there's just a certain type of expectation that comes with that that's very just the idea of giving of yourself, right? Like, it's a nonprofit or it's for the betterment of the Lord and the community, and all of those things are fantastic. I like the purpose behind those things, but it definitely can wear you out. And because you are giving of yourself, not just creatively, but sacrificing time and money that you might deserve or not deserve. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Point being, I worked for a church for a while and was just really burnt out. But I didn't know what else to do. And I just kept thinking, like, well, if I'm going to make it as an artist, like, I have to make at least this much money because that's what I'm making now. And I need to make more than that because I'll have to pay taxes. And then I've got to have a website, and I've got to, well, what am I even going to paint? Like, I don't even have a thing. Like, I don't have a style or a niche or whatever. And, like, do I want to make jewelry? I don't know. I've never made jewelry. And I was just reeling about it. And finally, God was just like, stop it.
Yeah.
Do it all. Just do it.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah.
Make a piece of jewelry. See if you like it. You don't have to have that one thing that's going to make you all the money that an artist can make. Like,
Right.
because that is what you see on social media. This one artist has this one style, and it's beautiful, and people buy it. It's hard to feel like you're not being fake somehow, maybe, or, you know, you want to think that you have found yourself or know yourself well enough. And
Yeah, like the authenticity.
yes.
When I feel like you're...
The uniqueness,
Right.
too, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely.
it can be tough.
We got to do our celebrity crush.
Oh, okay.
Soccer,
Yes.
sexy.
Yes.
David Beckham
Yes.
is my celebrity crush.
Under
Always
model.
has been. And then when they came out that documentary like this past year, I was like,
It's a good one, too.
I have to. I was like glued to the
Yes.
And my husband was even like, "What is
hey,
wrong
girl.
with you?" I'm like, "It's the accent." And oh my
so,
gosh.
That's
how
funny.
many times were you annoyed by Victoria Beckham?
Actually, I really enjoyed
Okay,
her
good.
part.
Me too.
I really did. I thought she
her.
was adorable,
Yeah.
and it made me love her more.
Oh, good.
Because you know, during the '90s, it was all Spice Girl, and she was known
Sure.
as Posh Spice, and everybody thought like she was the bitchy one because she
Sure.
definitely
She
looked like the one.
Put that on.
But that documentary like shed a new light on her. I was
Yeah,
like,
they had
are
like a
meant to-
sweet little relationship.
Yeah, they were like,
Yeah.
and it's so cool to see celebrities work out a long-term relationship.
Oh,
like that.
sure.
So I love that,
That's fun.
and I'm very jealous of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So,
real pretty,
does
so-
your husband have any of David Beckham's features?
Ooh. No. No, I don't think so. He does. My husband has some sexy legs. I
All
will say
right.
that. And
Soccer
players
legs.
have sexy legs.
Nice.
Soccer
That is-
legs. There you
Yeah,
go.
he does. I always thought he's like, really? I'm like, you
Good
have some nice
calves.
legs.
Yeah.
Got them quads, girl.
Yeah, he has some good legs.
Like it.
Yeah.
For sure. That's one of the top things on my list.
And
So-
For a
then
man.
Blake's mouth.
Yep. So it sounds kind of generic to say Brad Pitt's my celebrity crush, but it's because I think Blake looks like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Especially, I swear they have the same mouth.
I'm going to have to look
I know.
now.
I need
Yep.
to look.
It's the upper lip. Just
But
like
I
can't-
do that with every celebrity, though, that I have a crush on. I will see features of Jordan in them, and I'm
That really
very
worked out.
thankful for that.
that worked out.
I don't even want to say it because nobody else sees it
Say it,
ever.
say it.
Channing Tatum's body.
okay.
If Jordan works out consistently for like a month, he can have that body. And I've
Nice.
seen it over
Yeah.
and over. But also, Jordan and his family, if they don't work out, they lose it really quick. So, Channing Tatum, like even his face a little bit, Ashton Kutcher a little bit. And I always tell it all my kids, I'm like, all my kids.
The whole two kids.
All two of them.
The two kids.
I married your dad because of Adam Brody.
Oh, you know what?
What's
He's
So-
been in so many things.
He was in the OC.
dark hair?
Yes.
Okay.
He's married to Leon, or what's her name? Leighton Meister? I don't know. The one of the Gossip Girls.
Okay.
He was also in Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
He was the guy who was wearing
But
the
not
Fight
Brad.
Club shirt.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Wait, you said what?
Adam Brody. Are you
You said
thinking of?
Adrian.
No, I.
Oh,
I know
made-
who Adrian
No,
is.
I knew you would think that. And guess what? It's recorded. Because I know I was trying
said
to remember.
Adam.
All right.
Okay, Adam. I don't know who Adam. I do like Adrian Brody.
I used to
Adrian.
like him
Rotary.
too.
I like schnozzes.
Get that.
I like men with a good schnoz.
also what she said.
Like a strong nose, a schnoz. I'm serious. Like, I don't know why.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's so funny. We end on that
That.
because
That's
Jordan's
funny.
like, don't talk about celebrity crushes anymore.
Sorry,
So
Jordan.
now that's our new trend. We're gonna end on celebrity crushes.
It's a good. I mean, it could be an icebreaker, but it is also a good outro.
Yeah,
Wrap 'em
and
up.
everybody knows them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was fun.
It was fun. I hope I.
Yes, thank you.
eloquent.
You did.
I didn't realize that she was going on hiatus.
Yeah.
She said that she had made an announcement even a few years ago. Mm-hmm. I vaguely remember that, but I haven't noticed that she's been off of social media, and I feel bad about it. But also at the same time, I'm almost kind of glad that we didn't notice, because then it's not... I feel like if more people noticed, then more people would reach out, and then she'd probably feel the pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But hearing some of the things that she said really put it into perspective of like what you're doing here with Stoics and your art and all of that is still a passion. And I can see how if that became your full-time job, how it would no longer be a passion.
Yeah. And Alicia did say something. She said about that woman who does the aptitude test.
Yeah.
And she said that you need to have like your work life, and then you need to have your hobbies or your passions. And it made me think, like, it's I do not want to post all my stuff. I do not want to take a picture by picture, but when I do, I sell it. That's the work side. I have to come in here. I have to take inventory. I have to show you what's on the shelves, you know, and it's usually pretty great. But for some reason, I'm like, I don't want to, I don't know.
Well, I also feel like, though, there's a thin line, or there could be a thin line there because if you do get into that mind frame of coming in and taking pictures and, you know, posting things so that you can sell them, either A, you're not going to get the traction that you want, or you're not going to be able to sell the things, and then that's going to become a disappointment.
Right.
Or B, that's going to be too much of a grind, you know? So I kind of like the idea that you post it when you're feeling it, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you're posting it only when you feel it, and that sells every time, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I like that too.
So,
Which we should probably mention, Alicia is on vacation. She thinks she gets to take 3 weeks off from us.
I know. Whenever she said she was coming back the 21st or something, I was like,
what about me?
but I was like somehow trying to make that fit in June. Like she was only going to be gone for a few days. And then I was like, no, wait, okay. So
You
that's
mean
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it.
I know.
I already miss her.
I know. So they were going to the mountains?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were going with, I can't remember if she said she's taking her parents or not,
I
but
feel like I remember her saying that.
okay. Yeah. But
So
yeah, that's where they're
she's
at.
on vacation.
Oh, speaking of vacation, tell me about the Pixies.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Have I got a
Oh, the Pixies.
Yeah.
Who did you go
Modest
see?
Mouse and the Pixies and Cat
Modest
Power.
Mouse.
All three.
Yes.
So we have touched on this in our podcast before about perimenopause and all the symptoms that happen with that, all the weird freaking side effects of that or whatever. I don't know if they're side effects or symptoms, but one of them is hot flashes. Oh. And to have a hot flash in Dallas, where you already feel like your body's being cremated with the humidity that it is, and with it being an indoor-outdoor, whatever you call it, facility.
Where was it?
It was at the Toyota Music Factory. Yeah. So it's like indoor, and there's stadium seating, and then at the, like, it just goes at an incline, it's not a very steep incline, it just kind of gradually goes up. And then towards the back, it's a lawn, but there's like big giant doors that they can open and shut.
Yeah.
And the day we got there, it was like 101. And we were really excited about it. Our hotel was not far at all from the venue. And it was close enough, in fact, that Blue was like, we should just walk.
Oh, dang.
And I was like,
Did you?
oh, well, I thought for a second about it. I was like, I mean, I think I agreed at first, but then he had asked like the front desk person at the hotel, like some, you know, good restaurants that were nearby, and they gave us this list, and there was one place that was like 2 blocks away. And so we walked to this restaurant, and I'm sweating the whole time, of course. And we get into the restaurant, I'm fine, everything's fine. And then I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, what if, listen, hear me out. It'll cost us $7 to Uber to the venue. What if we Uber to the venue, and then we can walk home when it's dark?
Oh, smart.
Yeah. I was like, what if we do that? And he's like, okay, we can do that. And I was like, cool. So we Uber, you're turning onto a street that gets you to the venue. And he has to drop us off like as soon as he turns onto the street.
Right.
Because you can't go any further. Like they just won't let the cars go any further. So we had to walk a good ways just to get to the venue, and then indoors, which wasn't really indoors. And so we get down to our seats, and we get there kind of early. Like Cat Power hasn't even started playing. And Blue's like, hey, let's go get some merch while it's not very busy. And I was like, I'm not moving a freaking muscle. I am going nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, look at me. I am sweating. Like, I'm soaking wet. And he was like, okay, do you want me to get you something?
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so him and Xander go to get T-shirts or whatever, and me and Gavin stay there and hold our seats. And then I get a text from him like 5 minutes later, and he's like, are you sure you don't want something? And I was like, fine. I guess if you find something that you think I might like, you can get it.
I guess if you find something I want.
But the whole time, all I could think about, like, I'm starting to sweat right now thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like dying inside. And I don't think at this point it's because of the Dallas heat. I feel like I'm having a hot flash on top of what's already happening. So I was miserable for probably the first 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So pretty much the whole time Cat Power played of this place. Anyway, but once Modest Mouse started playing, which they played next, honestly kind of surprised me, the order. I figured Pixies would open for them. Because I feel like Modest Mouse is bigger.
Well, the Pixies opened for Weezer, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
but
go on.
I guess the Pixies have gained a lot more popularity in recent years than they did before. I feel like before they were a very like post-punk alternative underground band, and now they have like when we told Xander that we were going to see Modest Mouse we said we were going to see Modest Mouse, and he was like, oh my God. And he was standing there with his girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, Xander. And he was like, oh my God, I love them. And we were like, okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, who's opening? And we were like, the Pixies. And he was like, oh my God. Like, he freaked out even more.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, what? Yeah. So Modest Mouse played. By the time they started, I was fine. Don't worry about me anymore. I was fine. They did a really good job. I was very excited to see them. They did really good. And then the Pixies came on and freaking blew my socks off. I remember them performing at Weezer, and I do remember their stage presence wasn't overly exciting. Mm-hmm. I also remember the lighting on the stage was very like monochromatic. Like it was either all white or it was all red, or it just there wasn't a lot of action going on.
Right.
It was similar in the fact that it was still like they would turn on these bright white lights that would just shine into the audience, like to where you could barely see them. So it was kind of like just their silhouette, which turned out to be pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, they played for over an hour.
Dang.
Anyway, they did a freaking fantastic job.
Awesome.
And they waited and played Where Is My Mind until the very end. Maybe not the very end, because they started playing one more song after. But as soon as that song was over, I mean, it was like 90% of that place was emptied.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Have I showed you Willem can play a version of that?
No.
On the piano?
No.
Yeah, we'll have to send it to you.
Okay.
It's
I need that.
on my Instagram that got hacked. Oh. Bitches.
When did that happen?
Like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Something.
I want to see it again.
Yeah, by the way, if I'm asking you for money on Instagram, it is not me. Okay, go on.
I will say this. When he played Where Is My Mind, he played it so bad that nobody could sing along.
Oh.
And I know that it was on purpose.
Okay. Like he's like, this is my song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just is probably sick of that being the one song that they're known for or whatever, which I can understand.
It would suck to be a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but guess what, dude? You're here because of that song.
Yeah. Same.
You sold out this arena because of that song or whatever the case. But it was great. It was wonderful. And then the next day we went to Perry and Richards, hung out there, stayed there overnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a pool. She's got this great land. I helped her pick out a wedding dress to wear to Molly's wedding. It was just like we had, like how you and I, if we haven't talked in forever and then we hang out again, it's just like right back where we left.
Yeah.
And that's how it was with Perry and Richard. And Blue was in freaking heaven. He was like, I can't believe that your friends are so great and that like this place is so great. And Perry and Richard both said it, but Blue reiterated to me that they said it more than once, that we're welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
And he's like, we should go one more time before the summer's over. And I was like, okay. But yeah, it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
While you were doing that, I had an engagement party here. They had booked Stoics for their engagement party, but it is some family friends. Mm-hmm. So we came and we hung out, and man, they're so freaking great. Do you know Nancy Farron?
Yeah.
So it was her daughter.
Are you related to her?
No.
Okay.
But I knew her from, so actually Jordan grew up with the girls and then grew up with the Newsom girls.
Yes.
And then Nancy would come to State Farm all the time.
That's how I know her.
Yeah.
I'm like, it has to be the State Farm days.
Yes.
Yes.
Whenever Nancy walked in the doors, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I was so happy.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was so cool because afterwards they got things cleaned up like super fast. Aww. And then they were like, let's hang out on the patio. So we go to Nancy's house and we sit on the patio and we're just chit-chatting. Everybody's catching up. And Nancy and like 6 adult girls are in there cooking us all breakfast. Oh, and it was such a beautiful evening. And it made me think, I just really hope that, okay, so one time I wanted to do this mother-daughter thing here. It was just on my heart to have like a mother and kid situation. I don't know why I reached out to this girl other than the fact she's just a really good mom. And I was like thinking maybe she should be a part of it or something. Yeah. And so I kind of told her, hey, I'm thinking about doing this mother-daughter, mother-son thing here. And she said she loved the idea and that there is no better way for a woman to show her love for her friends than to care for their children. And I was like, oh,
dang.
And that's what I felt that night because Nancy was friends with Michelle, which is Jordan's stepmom, right. And also great friends with Jordan's mom.
Right.
And then there's Dana Newsom, who is best friends with Michelle, like all these women, right? Mm-hmm. And I just felt so freaking loved by her and Dana always. But it's just like, man, I hope so bad that I get to be that woman for my kids' friends,
yes.
you know?
Yeah. I love that.
I know. It was a beautiful weekend. And
well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, so with Chelsea, it was so funny because So Jordan had recently come to me and been like, hey, you need to cool it on the celebrity crushes.
Yes.
And so we go the whole thing with Chelsea's interview and we're closing up and we're like, what do you want to close on? And she goes, celebrity crush. So she said her celebrity crush is David Beckham.
Oh, yeah.
And then Alicia said hers was Brad Pitt. And then I mentioned tons of people.
For Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, that resemble Jordan kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, Jordan did his afterwards and started it with Celebrity Crush. So I feel like we have to weed that out now because I got real mad.
Okay. So now we really can't do it?
No, I want to know your latest Celebrity Crush.
Why am I so bad at this? Man, I'm
because we're going to have to bid it a farewell.
Do you know who I absolutely freaking love?
You.
Okay. I don't know if he's a crush. Oscar Isaac.
Who's that? Show me. Oh, yes, I know him. He was in that one movie with Olivia Wilde, right? It was super sad, and they like lost a kid.
Oh.
He's in Dune.
He's in Dune.
Yeah.
But he was in
Yeah, he's handsome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
I did not even know I had a crush on him.
Yeah. What made you think of him?
Because we just watched Dune for the first time. And
The first one or the second?
the first one. So now we have to see the second one.
I about fell asleep like 6 times in the second one.
Okay, hold on. Let me see
Yeah,
this.
finish.
Well, first, Inside Llewellyn Davis. Have you seen that one?
No.
Okay, you have to watch this movie because that is how I found out who he was, and he actually sings in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's very folky, and I freaking love it.
Mm-hmm.
And he like him and Marcus Mumford from Mumford and Sons did a song together.
Cool.
And it was like out there for the world to listen to. Anyway, yeah. The first Dune, I think I played Wordle the majority of the time. I didn't really pay that much attention. But every time I did stop to watch, all I could think was, is this they're having another like esoteric meeting where they're like talking in secrecy and you can't really tell what's going on. And like, why is everybody so serious? And come on, Timothy Chalamet, like, would you smile once?
Yeah.
Something like, why are you so sad? What's happening? And like, everything just seemed so serious and like drab and I don't know. It wasn't like Star Wars. Like I wanted it to be more something.
Yeah.
And I even made the comment to Blue, like, is that all this movie is? It's just this dialogue kind of stuff over and over again. Like, why aren't they doing something more exciting? Like, what's the deal? You know, it's like boring. And anyway, he was like, he kind of like got a little irritated because I was like making fun of it. And so then as soon as it was over, the second one popped up for us to watch if we wanted to, you know? And he was like, oh, we should do it. And I was like, you are more than welcome. Yeah. I'm not doing it.
99.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
No.
And a lot of people are like huge fans. And I'm like, but why? I don't understand it.
I don't even care at this point.
So if you like Dune, tell us why.
Yes.
Because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't get it.
Yeah, I don't care about that one.
But yeah, Oscar
I
Isaac
will
is gonna have to be
say,
it.
he's what?
He's going to have to be at my most recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and take a break from Jason Bateman. Dude, Miley Cyrus.
No. What?
Have you seen her Netflix? I mean, it's
With David Letterman?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
I love her now.
Okay.
I love her so much. I've never loved her.
Yeah, me neither.
She's my new girl crush for sure.
I will say this. I definitely love her more with long hair.
She's brunette in this, I think, which is a lot more her.
But so, you know, when she was going through the wrecking ball phase and she had the short, like, bleach blonde and the bright red lipstick.
Yes. Have you seen my other crush, my girl crush, Emily Blunt with, the really pretty Anne Hathaway.
Oh, okay.
So their lip sync battle.
Oh, for that?
For Wrecking Ball.
Actually, I feel like I have seen it.
It's so funny.
I feel like I have seen it because I went through and like watched all the highly rated ones of that show.
It is so funny. Okay, go on. Do you remember where you were at?
Yeah. So during that phase of Miley's life, she was kind of out there and just like pretty obnoxious, I feel like. I don't know. Everything she did was just got on my nerves. And I was working at Balfour at the time, and this girl that I worked with would post memes on my Facebook of Miley Cyrus with her mouth wide open and the red lipstick. And it was like, and she would put like at the top, you know, Jamie's favorite music star or whatever.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, yeah, everybody knew at the time that I just was like, ugh.
Yeah, that wasn't a good face.
It wasn't a good face for her at all.
No, not at all.
Isn't that around the time she was getting divorced?
I didn't even know she got married. I know your lip sync battle, but your personal life, I don't know. I do know that she in that Netflix show, her what's it, Late Night or My Next Guest with David Letterman. Yeah. She seemed extremely mature and refined, and still a total rebel. Okay, still very much Miley Cyrus, but she gave some mad like Angelina Jolie vibes.
Okay.
She even really resembles her.
Wow.
It's crazy. You should go watch it.
Okay. I love that show because everybody that he's interviewed, I don't know, it's just a really well-made show, and I feel like it makes me love David Letterman so much.
Yes. I went to his show before.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Me and Jordan went to David Letterman in New York, and we got to see Father John Misty open.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What song did he sing? Do you remember?
Oh, dang. It was his big one. I can't remember.
Okay.
It was a great night, but it was funny how they put up the posters and they're like, hey, applaud here.
Right.
We were just like, we're not going to clap for you.
Yeah. I'm not going to clap when you say so.
Yeah. We'll definitely clap for Father John Misty.
Right.
But
Right.
we're not going to clap when you tell us to clap.
Right.
So it always makes me wonder if they're doing that on that show.
Right.
Which,
Or any late night show. Oh, there's another person. I'm not a huge fan of her music, I don't think. But she's kind of everywhere right now in like a culty way. Like she was on Jimmy Fallon.
okay.
Her name is Chappelle Roan.
I mean, I'm
She-
digging it.
Her stage presence is very drag queen-esque.
Okay.
But she does that on purpose, obviously. Like she wants to, she's almost like a Lady Gaga, but I would say even more edgy, just really out there.
Cool.
One thing she said on the Jimmy Fallon show, and I don't even know, I guess this was on my Instagram. I have no idea how I came across it, but he said something about, who she is. And she said, if you Google me, it's going to come up that I'm your artist's favorite artist.
Oh.
And she got that from a drag queen.
Okay.
A drag queen once said, I'm your drag queen, your favorite drag queen's favorite drag queen or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I looked her up after that. And there are some songs that I'm kind of like, okay, I could really get into this. I'm not a huge, I just like her style. I like her independence and like her just uniqueness. She's kind of crazy out there. But so that's somebody that we do need to listen to.
Okay.
Alicia, you need to put that in your library so you can listen
You
to
think
that.
she'll listen to this?
I don't know.
Sure.
Sure. We'll have to make her listen to
She'll never know that we just made fun of her.
it. We've got to make her listen to it.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that's just a music artist that I threw out there because it was making me think. You were talking about late night, and then I was like, I wonder if they do that on the Jimmy Fallon show, like make people clap, during certain times. But I do love that. Anyway, I saw that he had a new episode out on My Next Guest, and then I saw it was Miley Cyrus, and I was like,
Yeah, you didn't even want to watch it. Yeah. I loved it. I can't say that I've watched very many of them. I watched Billie Eilish's, but
Yeah, me too.
that's it.
Okay.
Jordan was calling Billie Eilish Billie Eilish, and I couldn't tell if he was joking or not. Still don't really
When
know.
was he doing that?
Like yesterday.
Oh my God.
He said he had one of her songs in his head, and
He said Billie Eilish.
yeah, but he might have been joking. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Blue calls her Billie Eyelash, but I think everybody does.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to wrap it up?
I guess.
Do you want to end on a song? Do you want to sing us a song?
I'm not going to sing one, but I'll tell you what I just downloaded.
Okay.
I don't remember what it is. This I am so proud of. Okay, when we were in Dallas, Blue and I went to this little ice cream shop while we were waiting on the boys in the arcade. And the song came on, and I could tell it was like a song from the 60s, I mean, it's one of those popular songs that you know it when you hear it, but you don't really know who sings it or the words, but you know the song. Like, it's just been in pop culture forever. And Blue was like, who sings this? And I was like, I feel like it's Cream. I wasn't even sure that Cream was the name of a band.
Yeah.
After I said it, the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that's not it. That was just a freaking wild guess.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, who sings it? And I was like, I don't know. Let me look it up. Cream.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, play it.
Okay.
We need to know. Wow. How would you know that?
I don't know. This is what I'm saying.
It's the subconscious.
I'm just really good at guessing.
Oh my
this kind of
gosh.
stuff. I have no idea.
So you added that last?
Yeah. No, that's not the last one I added, but it's the one before.
I got to show you what I was getting down to last night.
Oh my God, that was the other thing I was going to tell you that I was so proud of.
What?
Sorry. One thing that was probably the highlight of our trip. On our way there, Blue and I just couldn't really agree on what to listen to, or like we were kind of sick of picking out the music, you know? So I just put my phone on the console and told the boys, like, whoever wants it, grab it, pick out a song.
Yeah.
So I never knew who was picking out the song, and it would start playing. And so I'd have to be like, oh my God, who picked this out?
I love that game.
Yeah. And Xander, he picked out probably the first 5 or something, and then Gavin kind of got in, which, does my kid even listen to music? I don't know. I've never known that because he's so reserved, you know?
Yeah.
And the first song that Gavin picked out was a collaboration with some rapper, I can't remember, and Tame Impala. And I was like...
Were you so proud?
I was like, who picked this out? And Gavin was like, me. And I was like, you? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And then everything he picked out after that, I was like, I love this
You're
song.
like, I succeeded.
Yeah, I was so proud.
I did my parenting well. I was driving home last night and I was listening to this.
Okay. Q-Tip?
Q-Tip?
Isn't that the rapper?
No.
A Tribe Called Quest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest.
So the lead rapper is Q-Tip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Is this an old band?
Yeah. It's from the early 90s, the song. That's Q-Tip.
We used to kick routines and
I
the
love
presence was
it.
fitting.
I never got into that when back in the day.
Well,
And this is another funny story. Whenever me and you we were deciding to be friends, and you were like, "Remember when the style was all like black Doc Martens and skinny jeans?" And I'm like, "No, don't remember that."
Yeah.
And then we discovered we're like 5 years apart.
yeah.
That was so funny that day, though. I was like, "Oh, you were in high school."
You were like, you wore those clothes. Wait,
I was in third grade.
Yeah, I'm like, no wonder you don't remember.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I do remember that. Oh, I had a wide variety of music that I listened to. It went from, 60s rock to 90s R&B, like Keith Sweat and, that was Q-Tip or Tribe Called Quest. That was one. Who was the other, Belle Biv DeVoe. You don't know that?
Right over my head. I don't know.
It's one of those songs that if I played it, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
When I was getting into music, it was TLC and Incubus.
Yes.
And
loved
I
it.
did have my Britney Spears out.
Yeah.
CD.
I did too, man. I had NSYNC too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I would have, and I listened to freaking Beethoven. Like I had this weird obsession with him for a little while when I was like in 5th grade. But I did love Incubus. I did love TLC. No idea. I had no clue that that Waterfalls was about an STD. No idea.
What?
Did you not know that?
No. Explain.
So, don't go chasing waterfalls. It's basically like, don't try to have a lot of sexual partners because you will get an STD. That's what I was told.
Because you know where she does the rap?
Yeah.
She says, hold on.
And now his promise is true. Only my faith can undo the many chances I blew to bring my life to a new clear blue and unconditional skies. Have dried the tears from my eyes, not my lonely cries. My only bleeding hope is for the folk who can't cope for such a new something. I know that part.
Oh my God. You're my hero. You are my hero. Oh my gosh.
I could tell. Yeah, I know some of it. If I heard the first lyrics, I could sing the whole thing.
That is amazing. Okay, so it's where, who's to blame for tootin' cane into your own vein? Like, that was another thing that I was just kind of like trying to learn the lyrics.
Yeah.
And Lennox is like, man, she's talking about drugs. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But it's funny.
I could be wrong. That's just what the rumor was whenever I was growing up. And it was like,
Because it
don't
does.
go down this path, stay on the right path, and that kind of thing.
I don't know. So he goes out and he makes money the best way he knows how. Another body lying cold in the gutter.
I feel like maybe not so much,
Maybe that's
but
drugs.
I mean,
don't
you're
know.
still my hero.
Okay. I can't believe I was able to get that many words out. That I remember that.
I love it. Okay.
Okay, so we'll end on that.
Yeah.